I found the music. Oh man. And good morning. All right. How's everyone doing? Happy Monday. I don't know. It kind of feels like Monday to me. That's all dusty. Looks like I had coffee in this. All right. Just about there. Then we'll hop into it. Just forgot my water cup inside. I'm using the thermos lid. I got this cool new shirt hoodie from the other. It's a lot thinner. It's not as cold as it used to be. Let's get the chat's going. There we go. So, I actually created some notes because I was stuck yesterday. I dropped my kid off, and the car they've been driving, It needed a whole new set of shocks and struts, front brakes entirely, 4 new tires. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I came up with some notes. I sat there in the lobby of this place, waiting for them to finish with the car, staring at the clouds in the distance, thinking about the router. And I think I've come up with a decent design. So we're going to try it. It does require 1 extra crate for external types, though. But I think we can do this. Too big. There we go. Each route has a generated type and a generated implementation of either Async-Route or Async-Route trait. Actually, I think we can get away with just one. We'll have to see. Then each route has a static instance of their type. Sync-Router returns the match route's return type. Okay. Async-Router returns a future that returns the match route's return type. Either type of router will perform the matching, checking the methods and segments. This, I think, yeah, because each of these types here is going to provide functions for getting the method and getting the segments, and then they'll have to pass the args in. This will actually reduce, I'm hoping, reduce the amount of code generated, because we'll have the segment building in one place instead of it being stamped out in the code and bloating up. It's either we do that or the generated code for each route would use some common function, which we could put in the extra type crate. And yeah, the only difference between these happens to be the return type here. Can the traits be combined? That's what we're going to try to do first off. So let's jump right into it. Good morning. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Let me set that today. There. All right, so let's go back into a router. Got a number of elements in here. All right. Then I'm hoping that Starlink behaves today. It looked like it was a little rough, but it always is after it gets updated, and it got updated recently. So, okay. Oh, we need a type, don't we? How about over here? Cargo, new. Lib. Let's see, mimeograph, graph, router, mimeograph, router, what? Types. Has the latency improved with the Starlink updates? And good morning. Um, I I don't know. It's I mean, let's see. Good morning, Nesbun. How are you? Part of the latency. Now, first off, right? My previous latency was always over 90, just because that's what my internet provider had. Right? I was locked in at about 4 megabit per second up and down. Um, yeah. So to be able to have looks like 13 up plus the stream, and then 200 down with a latency of 36 at about half the price of what I was paying before. That's amazing. So that, and I think I've got a little bit of latency because I do hop to a have a Wi-Fi hop in this, and it could be a little bit lower, maybe a millisecond or two. Um, if I remove that out, I mean, it might be as much as 5 milliseconds, but I've seen this in the 20s actually, which, oh goodness, is much better than 120. What do I think about Apple M1? It looks really nice. I don't think I'll ever end up on it. I'm much more likely to end up on a BSD machine or a desktop. That's my next goal. Is to actually eventually upgrade to a desktop BSD machine. But they look like they've spent a lot of time designing this. I mean, it's not really types. What do they call it with Rocket? Oh wow, they've passed 7 billion downloads. It's in the valley, surrounded by 7,000-foot peaks. Oh, yeah, I mean, right now you need that sort of the low angle, but once the constellation fills in a bit more, it should be able to tighten up. As 102 where is it? 168.100.1. Oh, here's the stats. Can I connect? Oh, lies. Right here, if we bump this up, you can see that here I've had a number of minutes of downtime today. Usually I can, after an update, it'll get down to about 1 minute in total. But that, it feels like it has to learn again. I mean, no satellites, that's usually because they're doing like some sort of update or something, not because they're not there for me. And beta downtime, this to me always feels like they're reconnecting something in the network somewhere. Obstructed? That's my bad. That's a tree somewhere. But so far, it's been really good. Here's the signal to noise ratio, and I've got a fairly good view of this side of this guy. And good morning, Felipe. Yeah, and depending on the angle, right? So if your angle to the peaks is 45 degrees, that might be an issue. But if it's like a tree or two, like if you could replace those peaks with a tree or two, you might be fine. So, oh, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna call this thing. Rocket dependencies. Rocket code gen, and what is rocket code gen dependent on? Rocket HTTP. That's kind of cheating. Types, traits, and parsers. See, that's kind of what we need. Something like that. Hey, morning, Black Tomcat. Oh, and Xenocron, good morning. Thank you for that. This how 11 months, Xenocron. Oh, that's crazy. I don't know. Tools. We're getting there. I know. I'm gonna have to spend some more time cranking out some icons and stuff. Now, naming has got to be one of the hardest things in programming. What are we going to be putting in here? Subversary? Yes. Oh, processing text files with Bash? This is the perfect opportunity to use Rust. It's really good at processing text files. Okay. Maybe we have router foobar. We just call it foobar for now. Come up with a name later. I would call it types, but it's not all types. Some are traits. Would be nice if we didn't add any dependencies to this project for this unimportant feature. Hmm. All right. Mimeograph router helpers it is. All right, then back here, let's go into cargo.toml, and we will add helpers equals path equals. Toss that over there. Great. Let's go back over into mimeograph router helpers. Oh, and did anybody? I didn't look. OSX on screen key press. You know, I might have something. What's this look like? You get virus warnings. What's the price on that? No price listed. Yeah. $50. Possibly built in. ScreenFlow. Huh. That's different. I think I've seen Keycaster before. Yes. I might have that. Oh, that's all right. Let's see. Yeah, he was also on Windows. And I know that they have a lot more on Windows for this. On the link, it shows using sticky keys in Sierra. Oh, let's go back and look. Which changes the way modifier keys work. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a little different though. Yeah, I don't, I shouldn't relearn how to type for this. But that's a neat, I want to see it. What's it look like? Huh. What's this one? Keystroke Pro. All right. Come on. Let's open apps. Oh, come on. You can do it. To the other screen. Seriously. Over there. Oh, it's full screen. That's why. How about now? There we go. Apps. Oh, Rob Vespa. Thank you for the follow. Just a moment. We will enable that. Algorithms. A word used by programmers when they don't want to explain what their code actually does. All right. Now I have to enable it in settings so it can monitor. Okay. Now open it again. All right. Check now. We're up to date. Great. All right. So what am I going to do for toggling the capture? Oh, you know what? There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. All right. That looks like it'll work. We'll see. Mr. L's, you muted. Hmm. All right. So we'll. Oh, is that going to go behind me? Oh, it is. Rat. We could toss this up here. Is it smart enough? No, it goes up and off the page, doesn't it? Can we have it go down? Guess we can just. I don't know. We'll play around with it. Toss it over here. I really don't know. Maybe down here in the middle? We'll see. All right. Where are we going? Anybody using Lacrity? It's right here. Yes. That's actually what the chat window's in. Okay. So we're going to create something here. We need some types. That's right, some types for this. And a trait. Oh, do I know how to move the text a bit away from the left border? Oh, good question. There's a config file for it. Oh, where's their border? No, we'd have to look up their config. I just have the colors set up. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know that one. Oh, just know one of these. I have no idea how to display that black Tomcat. Is there a table command? No. All right. So we're going to create some types. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. What types are we going to have here? We are going to have pub trait route. Route is going to have type input, type output, function for method. Now this should be known and available at compile time. So this should be actually a static stir. Then in this case, then we'll also have function route. We'll take the input, the request. Let's change this to like request and response. At this point, we should be able to take that in an owned way. We also have to take the args. Of slices. Yeah, we want that. Probably something like so. This is a little higher. There we go. Let's see. Config. Actually, I want a little bit of border myself. We have window. Here. Ha, an error. Oh, padding.x and padding.y. Thank you. Probably just x here. It's gonna do it. 10. Oh, look at that. Okay. Size 16. Much better. Nice. Okay. It's nice to get it off the far edge of the screen over there. Also, this window drops a shadow on it. And I wanted it out from under the shadow. And it looks like the shadow was about, I don't know, 10 pixels or so. Yeah. That's creepy. Seeing that mug there. Yeah. All right. That's my escape key. That power thing there. Is that the same over here? Yeah. Okay, that installed. Good. But I think this is what our route is going to look like. We also need segments. What? Where to? In a route, we were generating segment. I want this to be over there. Let's have a... Should we have a type for this? Probably not. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. It comes from OS X. And I could probably figure out how to turn that off, but it's easier to configure alacrity. Then it makes a nice little border between the two, which is nice. Okay. So we've got the segment literal. What else? We had notes on this. We're going to try to do it with one. The match function, maybe. It would keep the binary smaller if we had multiple routers. Ooh, that's interesting. How much of the router could actually be over here? Probably quite a bit. So if we go look at the router, this here is the router. Elements. So we could pass in the array of elements and these values and have the rest of this done in there. Difference is going to be this? No. You know what? Mimeograph request could go away. No. The whole purpose of that is just to be able to have those types. We'll leave that over there. That's a separate concern. But we could be dependent on this and move those in as well. Just pass in the request. Then what would we do in here? Build up the array? Probably. That's probably it. Which is all of this lovely code at the top, which would be fine. What are we making? We are making... So, big picture, we're working on like a serverless WordPress. That's like, 100,000 foot level. 10,000, you bring that in a little bit more technical. We're using Cloudflare workers with Rust and JavaScript, right? Mostly Rust. Okay. We're going to be using the workers key value store, the cache, the durable objects. You come in a little closer there. We're using Rust, creating some proc macros because we want to be able to do something like, like this, where we have some sort of route to find like so for the request. And then it would get handled by some of the other proc macros where here it would say, hey, we've got all of these routes. We're building up a router. Please match. All right. Oh. So jumping back, do we want to put the router here? Probably. Request, and this is going to be something that is dependent on the, is this in Node? It is not in Node. Cloudflare workers run inside of a V8 instance, so it's very close to Node. Oh, you can't find anything regarding the shadow reduction. Interesting. I figured it would be one of those command line set this value things. Should learn you some Rust for great good. Yes. So we're going to have the request type here. So where are we going? There we go. Requests are, that can be dependent on those other values. Then we need the routes. And this will be fixed, won't it? We're going to use T and U because both of them start with R, and that would be confusing. And this is going, oh, what is that? We're going to have a slice. And in this case, it would be a slice of U. And could we say that the response here is going to be V? Where T is route, U is going to be the route just above. Oh, that's... Not sure I like route. You like BSD? I do too. I really do. What are we routing? IP datagrams? We are routing HTTP requests. Let's see. V is going to be... Actually, we're not going to have a V. V gets replaced with T response. We need to add this. Really? Oh, request. It's called request. Perfect. Wait. Okay. That's better. So we have a request, we have a route. And this would be actually U. U response. Mismatch types expected. Yes, yes, because we haven't implemented it yet. Oh, not that. There we go. Tries not to lose interest. Oh, that's funny. The important part here is that we're going to be using proc macros. We're trying to keep the generated code size small. To be or not to be. That is the variable. You made adjustments to make it look like and behave like macOS. Huh. Okay, so far this looks alright. Now what are we going to do here? That looks alright. Let's strip some more bits out of this. Oh, does it need to return some or none on this? It does. So the return type there has to change. And the reason we're moving out of here is so that we can use the same function if the types are the same, instead of bloating the WASM file. All right. Let's change the response type. This will be option, one of those, because if it doesn't match, was that proc macros? Yes, procedural macros. Now this here is not a procedural macro. Now in this case, I think we can just pass this all the way through. Oops, let's spell that right. Okay. Feeding the WASM? That's funny. All right. We'll get to this in a moment. What else? We have segments, etc. Now, we're going to do some of the checking that we were doing elsewhere inside of the routes over here, also with the goal of reducing the WASM size. So, the routes are going to be of this type, so we should be able to get the method in the segments here. Let's go pilfer some code. Here. I don't know if we'll be able to do this at the same time. Maybe. All right, now most of that's going to end up in here. For each of the routes, we want to check to see if the method for the route is the same as the requests method. So this here, let's rename this request method. This path bit should be with its buddies. There. That comment's actually with that block of code. Okay. Now let's get the route segment. Segments, plural. So first, check the verb. Second, let's have these on the same order. So we have route segments. So the route stuff's on the left. The request is on the right. All right. Now this. Collecting them into an array. I don't know if I want to do that right off. We might go through and match each one, and if they match, then we collect it. Because I don't want to deal with the like a vector or some other heap operations if I don't have to at this point. So we're gonna take those, toss that down here. I'm gonna put the route segments on the left, the request segments on the right. Bravely attempts a 360p stream in order to read the text. Is it not actually clear on this? Actually, that's great feedback. It looks fairly clear to me. Oh, it's fine. Okay. Oh, you can see it, can you, at 360? Oh, you have crummy internet service. Now, just so you know, I actually stream with really, really low bandwidth. So I'm at 1.6, 1.7 megabit per second. And sometimes the transcoded is actually a higher bandwidth. Oh, but 360 is, yeah, half a meg. So all right, and if it's an argument, we're not going to store it. We want the route segment on the left. This is type segment. This should be a request. So if the request segment is not equal to the segment literal, which is a stir, this is a stir stir. There we go. Oh, what's this? That's neat. We don't have args yet. I'm going to duplicate this, because after the fact, we will collect those. But here, we're just going to skip it. Do nothing. So we only go through here. We will check the segments of the request, right? Returning none. Now what's going on with this? Route segments. Mismatched types. Expected array. Found reference. Oh, because it's an intuiter. Yes, yes, yes. It used to be a different type. And that means our first type is different. Except route segments. Ah, no, this type is wrong. Yeah, this should be a reference or just segments. All right. Back to where we were. Now the types match up. Good. All right. Now, if they do match, at this point, everything matches. We'll collect the arguments. So at this point, we will do a little heap allocation. Toss. Do we have to do a heap allocation? We could say you could have a maximum of 16 or something. Maybe. Collect the args. Let's see. Let args. And what is this? Args is going to be. Let's try it this way. Stir. How many? We could count the arg. Oh, the ligatures. Oh yeah. That's really simply a ligature. So that ends up becoming that. Right. And there's some other cool ones too, like less than and equal to. Oops, less than or equal to. Right. Same thing works for greater than, equal, triple equal, not equal. Oh, we did that one. Not equal. You get the idea. That's one of the reasons I use Kitty, because it supports ligatures. I like the way it looks. It's just little eye candy, you know? And when you stare at text all day, little eye candy can go a long ways. All right. How many of these? Oh, we need to know how many. No, we don't want to return none in this case. We want to go back out here. Ooh. I'll have 4 routes. Okay. You can have named loops. I think that works. Can it? No, you have to have the tick there, the single quote. This would be, okay, not a return none. This would be a continue. Same with this one. Yeah, it is. It is a good performer. I don't know. I don't know that one, Tommy. I mean, usually it's the editor that's loading the text for me. I typically just don't hit it with like gigabytes of text. All right. Let mod mute. Oh my goodness. It's equal to 0. Okay, plus equal 1 on that. Then we'll have args count. Can we do this? We can't do this. All right, so a vector then. Get a log file which was about 75 gigs in size. Yeah, I tend not to toss that in my terminal. Oh, thank you. We'll keep the arg count. We will say that this is going to be a vector of what stirred with capacity. We don't want it to have to resize. And we could drop the type. And we copied this before updating it. Iter on that. Now in this case, we do nothing here. Because that was already done. We're just going to skip those. But in this case, we will store it. Make that mutable, store that. Oh, actually we don't need that, do we? We just push. Okay. Now we have segment with arg counts. Let those go away. Hmm. All right. Now at this point, because we found one that works, we have our type U, right? And we should be able to say route. Was it route.route? Route.do, route.go, route.process. What do I want to call this? Route. I don't like it. I don't like the reiteration there. Handle? Call? Call? It's a little sketchy. Probably better than the rest of this. Okay. All right. So we pass in the request, then the args. Oh, I see. Oh yeah, it should be fine with that. 2,000 servers is more than smaller side. I've lost a server somewhere. Actually, I physically lost it. What was that from? I don't know if you remember that. Um, and in this case, we return this. Some route call. Okay, but this is wrong. Where's request? Request is of type T, which is a mimeograph request. Yes. Call should be taking that. Oh. I see. Actually, does it need the request? Yes, it needs the request. We have to pass that through. But we could get rid of that because we know the type has to be something that impulses this. Actually, that's going to have to be a T. Yeah, no. So then we'd have to do where T is that. And why would we mix and match these? Have a generic and an associated trait type. Ooh, that's a great Rust design question. Why would you split these out and have generic here, but an associated trait type here? Had a server somewhere. You should probably be bolting fans into a case. Oh man. Transandal and mimeograph, yes. Good morning, Belgianal. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. You can get several vCenters on different sites going. Oh wow. That's a lot. It's a lot of machines. Wow. VMs. It's a lot of VMs. I'm not actually sure on this. And then there's some type theory here that's evading me. Because this would generate a function for all t where t is request on a type route. Let's leave it like this. This feels a little odd, but I'll ask somebody later. Love you for some VMs. Wow. All right. Cannot move out of a shared reference. Where was it shared? Okay. Because you got iter. We're just joining iterators. We're not taking ownership anywhere. There we go. Are you a programmer? Are you a programmer? Oh, that sounds cool. All right, so we call that. What this here? Mismatch types. Expected reference, found reference. Yes, yes. We should be able to clone that reference. Hey, thank you for the follow. It cannot be dereference. Oh, wrong. Let's dereference it here. Good. Cannot move out a request because it is borrowed. Move out a request occurs here, where, oh, this needs to be mutable. We might have to go to the console to see what that's pointing to. Any other errors? No. Cargo check. Just 15-year-old kid trying to learn things from strangers in Twitch. That's a fantastic way to go. And with programming, it's like learning a spoken language, right? So you want to practice a little bit every day. So come up with some sort of project that you want to work on and just kind of chip away at it, right? If you get stuck, right? Find a community, kind of like this, right? We help each other out. Oh, did that get dereferenced there? Borrow request goes here, yes. Fascinating. Because of path. And then path gets deconstructed. Huh. What does path return? Path returns. I thought it was a cow, wasn't it? Yeah. Still moving out, yes? You want to be a white hat hacker. I don't do a lot of hacking stuff, but there are some fun websites that do teach you about it. I want to move free. I grabbed a WebAssembly book the other day. Oh, interesting. WebAssembly appeals to you. Very cool. Very cool. Hopefully, get back. Well, thank you. Yeah, Free Code Camp is a really good one. Um, I also like now if you're going to be doing like white hack hacking, right? You probably need to know how to do some programming in some language. Um, and for that, you could. One of my favorites is actually exorcism.io. Right? No. And this is just a website that has a lot of different languages available to learn. Right now, we're using Rust. They scramble these, so I don't know where Rust is. Oh, there it is. And they have learning tracks. There are mentors in there as well. All right. So you have these different tracks, and this is a fun one. Probably be good to have a little bit of programming, at least. Now, there was actually a website that kind of taught you how to do ethical hacking. I don't remember what it is though. Oh, the fuzzing. Yes, fuzzing videos are great. Fuzzing is basically just throwing data at programs and seeing where they fail, and then using that failure as maybe a vector to attack. Does anybody remember the hacking website? Because there is a really great one for learning how to do ethical hacking. I don't remember where it is though. Yeah, it's out there though. Give a COC a restart. Is it EDX? Oh, nice, nice. I haven't used any of these. Are they good? Classes free, certifications cost. That's nice. Yeah, see, this returns a cow. I want to avoid that. I want to avoid the borrowed lifetime. How far do we actually use this requested segments? Because if this is outside, maybe we just keep track of which one won. Then we can put this into a scope. Uh, Hey, you're welcome. So we'll have a mutable variable. It'll be a none. We'll do this down here. We'll close that scope so the borrow's done with. But if one did match, it would have matched outside of this. So we can say matched route is going to be equal to some route. Is this? Yeah, it's a bar. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Oh, our arg counts are gone. What else do we need? Oh, this should still be in there. Because we need the route and the args. So maybe this is a tuple? I'm cheating a little bit. I don't want to set them in two separate things. We're just going to have route and args. All right. This could actually be returned here. No, we can't do that because we can do this though. Matched equals. Oh, but we're in a for loop, aren't we? Let's extract this out into another function. That's going to be so much cleaner. Function. Find route. Call it something like that. Ambi Crump does some hacking stuff on Twitch. Finished up a C certificate last year. Nice. C is fun. I love C. Python 2 with a decent lecturer. Oh, nice. Python's really hot now. Okay, so we are going to need a couple of values. In this case, we will return some route. In this case, we will not. Okay. Yeah, I know. I know your return type's bogus. We'll get there. We need the request. It's a borrowed T in this case, where T is of that kind. Move the double borrow. And now we need the routes. Let's go grab that type here. You. Oh, it's just where you. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. what do we return out of this? It's an option to the matched route. And the args. So we need a tuple. This is going to be a little sketchy, isn't it? So where's it borrowing these from? We need some lifetimes here. Because the route's technically static. Oops, not both. And this is A. It's a lifetime of A. No, we can't do that because this has to be a vector, not a vice. Vec. Vector of borrowed stars with a lifetime of A. And A technically is this. All right. Nobody's paying you to code, though. No. This is going to loop through each one. At this point, we create something on the heap, put some references into that, return that. Great. Oh, what is that function called? Find route. Find route. We'll pass in our request. And the routes. In that case, we return nothing back. What is a route to this point? We have to call the call function on our route type. And we pass that return value. Yes, that's static set of routes. We don't have to double borrow it. Just need the right lifetime. Oh. We can get rid of one more borrow. All right, gotta check my schedule. No, in this case, should be a sum and then the result. Expected reference. The trait bound you request does not satisfy the trait request. Oh, the trait request is not implemented for you? Did I get these backwards? So T is the request type. Use the route. We're supposed to pass. Oh, where's the request in? There we go. Because it's borrowed. Oh, and we're still in the borrow. What is it that's... Route is going to be equal to that. I don't know. Let's pass them both out. Route and args. Oh, my editor's just trolling me. Okay, we save that to a local. In this case, we just return none. Okay. Oh. Yes. Data that's owned by path. I was hoping that it could actually know that this is still the same lifetime. What is that? That's standard. No, standard. I thought it was borrow cow. Is it not borrow? So path. Hello and good morning, Brooke. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Let me send a quick text. I know, bad timing. I gotta text my wife. All right, we're gonna send up a date. All right, and welcome everybody. We are working on building an HTTP router, and this is for a project that we call Mimeograph. All the code that you see right here is open source. The router is all open source. A Mimeograph is going to be like a serverless WordPress, right? Right now, we're trying to create some proc macros so that we could have some interesting elements like router, right? Match some of these routes. So if you match, get emoji, this function will get called. We're also using Cloudflare with Cloudflare's workers, using their key value store, their durable objects, their cache. So that, and we're fighting the borrow checker currently. The borrow checker is winning. It's I thought we could be a little bit more clever and provide some lifetime hints here. See, like this here should be a stir. See, path does not live long enough. Oh, it's saying that because it's a uh it's there. This path is local. Doesn't it always win? Oh, Brooke. It does. Good morning, Temperus. We could return slices. Maybe. But how would we do this with slices like that? Because we're supposed to be matching the segments of a URL, right? So foo, bar, baz, right? Want to make sure they match. And then if baz happens to be a variable, we return that section. We could copy that out as a string, but I prefer not to copy it. I prefer to just wire up the references. It's a little harder though. It's a lot harder, especially if you do it the wrong way. Okay, because we end up copying. Let's see. Let's get rid of that compiler warning. This args here. This could be. Could say this is. Is our slices? That feels like the same thing. I want stir refs. The problem is this local. All right, we trim the first. Trim star matches. We trim that off first. And if we didn't do this, the next problem we would have then would be on the split. Hmm. So if we did these all in terms of references back to this cow, it might actually work. You're off to work? Have a great day. You too, Brooke, and thank you for the raid. Now, where are we going with this? Because if we can get this working and have slices to this with the same lifetime, then we can avoid some allocations. And this is in a little VM. I don't really want to do a lot of allocations just for when we match a route. I mean, if we had to when we matched a route, that'd be fine, right? But if we could avoid it, doing less work is always better. So let's create some little tools here. Function, right? Trim start. Trim start slash. And we're going to pass in. So let's do that. Da, da, da. Path. This will return stir. Can we do it this way? I want to return a slice. For instance, path. Just like everything, right? Oh, use of undeclared lifetime. Yes, of course. Thank you, compiler. Gonna return value referencing. Function parameter path returns value referencing data owned by the current function. What type is this? Yeah, expected unit found stir. Okay, let's change this up because if it was like this, that would work. It's the cow. Okay, let's go back to where we have the cow, where we first get it. Where is that? Find route. The problem we're going to run into here is this one of borrowing. Okay. Because eventually we want to pass in args and request into the route. The args, I actually want to be referencing something that lives inside of request, but we can't do that directly. We can get the path. It looks like we're going to have an allocation either way. Unless there's another way. Can we break that out in some other way? Brownish codes. Yes, absolutely. Is it possible to make a REST API using Rust? Absolutely. Let's see, where is it? Here. There's all sorts of stuff. And it's fast. Very fast. If you were to look at the top list here, I'd probably check out Rocket, maybe Warp. I've used Actix a long time ago. That's like the fastest of the fastest, but in terms of like user friendliness, getting to like play and get inside of Rust, um, maybe Warp. Warp, you have to think a little bit different. It's a bunch of combinators basically. Oh, thank you for the follow, Pranish. WebAssembly, yes. And this is what we're trying to do right now. Compile the WebAssembly so that we can run inside of the Cloudflare workers. What plugin shows you the type after each line? That's actually part of COC. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I find that really helpful. I know some people turn it off, but I like to see that, especially when doing combinators. What if this was tasked with just finding the route? Let's just do the route. We're not going to collect the args. Let's also return the arg count. It seems a little sketchy too. No args. It's plural. Okay. We can skip this section here. We'll come back and grab that. Let's grab it now. Okay. Now we need the segments again. On my phone. It doesn't want to turn off the alarm. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna reboot it. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. Yeah, go away, phone. Yes, yeah. No, we're getting into the same problem again. And that this is all going to be borrowed, and then we won't be able to pass in request. Let's undo. Okay, put that type back, that back. Okay. What else could we do? Because if we allocate the cow, which is kind of what it's doing here, we get a stir. If we did this outside, let's say we passed that in. Is that going to help? So we have our path here. Oh, no, we don't need that. It's deleted. Okay. So we have that there. We have a request, our path. And should be able to dereference that. Okay, there we go. Now the lifetime, all points outside of that function. Good. What do we have here? Cannot move out of request because it is borrowed. Yes, it is borrowed right there. I don't really see a way around this. The challenge, the mystery is afoot. So if we put that in its own little scope, then we don't have route and args. This should also still fail. Path doesn't live long enough, borrowed value. And not move out of request because it is borrowed. Yeah. I think we're stuck with cloning this. Just to get the args. Well, if we had to do that, why don't we do that at the very end, right? Once we know that we have to allocate something, let's undo this. Undo, undo, undo. No, it actually doesn't matter, does it? I don't know why I'm wanting so badly to not copy this. I think it's because I think it should be possible. Just to validate. Yeah. So we either have the route, split that up. Okay. So if we only passed in one thing, let's say we just passed in the request, then we would still have to pass in. Well, the route knows what its segments are, but we're still going to have elements pointing into the path. So to owned. All right. This is not the same anymore. That's too bad. That's funny. In other languages, you never would have had the choice. We just spent a little bit of time trying to figure out if we could avoid a heap allocation. It's probably actually going to make it work a little bit better for when this is async too. Okay, let's see if we can wire this in. Let's get rid of some elements here. That's gone. What does... You know what? Let's use local documentation. Look up cow. Cow. Into owned. All right. And I think we have to call that. Otherwise we're using displays implement, like toString is implemented for anything that implements display. Did I say that right? ToString is implemented for everything that implements display. And we don't want to call that. Was it into owned? Into. Because if it exists already, we just want the value. If it's a reference, we're going to clone it. Okay. Okay. Let's update the router. Make sure. Now, let's go into a router. Do we want something like that? I think we were using this because the closure let us delete a number of types. And we have the helper already set up. And at this point, we want to call router. And we're going to pass in the request and the routes. The routes are like so. I'm going to remove the async bits for a moment. That did a lot of this. Now, did we end up calling that? We do. So we pass that all the way through. All of that goes away. Why do you not have a 5mm wrench? Do you mean a spanner? Sorry. we're going to ignore some of that. I don't think we have to worry about whether or not it's async, so we're going to remove that. Okay. Getting rid of that one. You did mean a spanner. Cheers, mate. Oh, man. I worked in London. Years ago. Many years ago. And the language got me a number of times. This is story time, so everybody sit on your little circle. Um, but it was great. It was a lot of fun. New place, all that. Lived there almost a year. And I was kind of like a trainer. Like I would teach people how to use our software. It was enterprise content management software. Well, I would often get to go out to the customer and teach them how to do things after something was sold. So the customer, they would interact a lot with the salesman. And one day, this customer was coming into the office. They wanted to speak with not our office manager, but the head of the office, like I don't know, the director of the office. I forget what they were called. Now, they wanted to know the customer who I'd met and who had paid like, £500,000 for the software and the training and everything. And I'd spent weeks with them. They were coming into the office. So we had a good relationship. And they asked me, how, okay, help me recognize this guy. Help me recognize Wayne. I'm like, okay, Wayne. Wayne is a hulk of a man, right? Huge, right? I used to play rugby. His nose is a little offset because got broke so many times. Um, he's got to be like 6'4", just 240 pounds or so, and you know, and he's the only guy in the office um, that wears suspenders. And the customer, the person that I'd spent so much time with, says, "What? Really? How can you tell?" What should have alerted me at that point that something was amiss, but it didn't. And I just responded. We were talking on the phone. I said, "Oh, it's obvious. They're just right out there." Later, I learned that in the UK, suspenders, which in the US are like those, you wear them to hold your pants up. Those sorts of suspenders are actually in the US what we would call garter belts that hold up your stockings. Yeah, yeah. The big boss of the office, he wears suspenders. Yep. How do you know? Oh, they're just right out there. You won't miss them. Hi. After school stuff. She went to town. Yeah. Yeah, braces. Yeah, and then we call braces the things that make your teeth straight. Yeah, and you guys call garter belts braces. Yeah, a little helper there. Halsey Jr. All right, so we have. But it's a good time in England. Lived in Switzerland for 2 months. That was a lot of fun. Okay, there's that. And the route. Yeah, this has to change a bunch. Because now we have to implement a type. Create a type and implement the type. So where is it? Here. Because we've actually removed all of this code. It's all done in someplace else. Yeah, and here's my attempt. Okay. And the wrap function doesn't have to be on the outside anymore. We can actually put that inside. Hey, Miguel America. Eventually, I'm going to have a pretty quick stop today. But I don't know when it is. So we'll keep going. I missed streaming yesterday, but I was stuck. Whoa. Okay. Don't like that. Okay. So we're going to implement some sort of type. We need something, we need a name for this type. So when we get a route, just so you know, for something like this, we're going to create a type for get emoji. So we're going to create some sort of capitalized name for this. Here's the wrap function. Here's its asyncness, whether or not it's async. I don't know if we need that yet. Oh, you know what? I did. I didn't start. Uh-oh. Where's Capitan? Oops. All right. Oh, good. That's working. All right. Give it another. You know what? There we go. And earlier, I'd given somebody the I tried to give that link out for COC, but Capitan wasn't up and running. Okay. Close that. There we go. Back to where we were. So we've got, here's our wrapper name. Route struct prefix. Let's change this to route for now. We need heck again. Cargo add heck. Heck is really great at converting case names to camel case. We might need to do a 2-string on that first. Yeah. Restart COC. So I can pull in heck. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. Pull that in. Now we should have a right structure name. Okay. I just got notified my time is coming to an end. Right here. We've got to wrap this up. Okay, so what do we do today? We've got a new crate that is going to help support this. I think this will work for async and non-async elements because of our trait. And we should be able to drop the code size. So tomorrow we'll pick up and keep updating the router to use this new code. And hopefully by the end of the week, we're back inside of mimeograph and the workers. So let's give somebody a raid. Sorry for the quick ending here, but I thought it'd be fun. Ooh, Modprog. Stealing Togglebot 3. What? Wait, that's stealing. Stealing. Do I stream every day? I try to. Like learning a language, I wanted to learn Rust. And for me, it's best to do at least a little bit every day. Sometimes like today, we only had 2 hours. I usually do 3 before work. And then I go off to my day job. So open source web search project written in Rust. That sounds fun too. Let's check it out. What are they doing? Let's see how they're set up. I don't hear you. Oh, I should hit play. Create release after tag.yml. Huh. Looks like yeah, GitHub workflow stuff. All right, pick one. A or B? Do we go Modprog or James Little? Is mimeograph something we wrote? Yes, it is. Yes. Mimeograph is kind of the core of what I'm building. That's the serverless WordPress alternative. Oh, I like he's got like some little dwarf guy there. All right. I can understand the other guy a little better. Let's go this way. We're going to let that count down. And, oh, I cannot raid that channel. Okay. Mod prog. There we go. Turns out we can only raid one. So, thanks all for hanging out. And until next time, which should be tomorrow. I mean, really, I'm kind of a glutton for being built, but blah, 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 blah. Beat up by the borrow checker. So, and thank you for the follow. Take care. Where did that button go? Oh, then I have a 3-second delay. Here we go.